The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. If you're looking to transform your life and break free from limiting beliefs, this book is for you. We'll dive into the 4 powerful principles that can help you achieve personal freedom and happiness. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more insightful book summaries and personal development tips. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Let's get started on this journey toward a more authentic and fulfilling life. Introduction: Domestication and the Dream of the Planet. In the introduction, Don Miguel Ruiz introduces the foundation of his philosophy by explaining the concept of domestication. From the moment we are born, society begins shaping our beliefs, behaviors, and sense of self. This process, known as domestication, is how parents, schools, religions, and cultures impose rules and expectations upon us. While this is a necessary part of living in a structured society, it also creates limitations. We are rewarded for conforming to these rules and punished for disobedience, which leads us to internalize fear and self-rejection. Ruiz describes this collective programming as the dream of the planet. This dream is the shared reality constructed by humanity over generations. It encompasses societal norms, values, and belief systems that are often based on fear, judgment, and competition. These agreements, unwritten rules we unconsciously adopt, shape how we see ourselves and the world. One of the most significant consequences of domestication is that we begin to make agreements with ourselves and others based on these external influences. For instance, we might adopt beliefs such as, "I'm not good enough," or "success is measured by material wealth." Over time, these agreements trap us in a cycle of fear and limitation, preventing us from living authentically. Ruiz emphasizes that the first step toward personal freedom is recognizing that the dream of the planet is not the ultimate truth. It is a construct we can choose to challenge and reshape. By becoming aware of the agreements that govern our lives, we gain the power to break free from those that no longer serve us. This section sets the stage for the 4 agreements, which are presented as tools to help us dismantle fear-based beliefs and create a new dream rooted in love, freedom, and authenticity. Principle number 1: Be impeccable with your word. The first agreement, be impeccable with your word, is a cornerstone of Don Miguel Ruiz's teachings, emphasizing the immense power of language. Words are not merely tools for communication. They are also tools of creation. Ruiz argues that words have the power to shape our perceptions of reality, influence our emotions, and determine the quality of our relationships. Words can inspire, uplift, and heal, or they can harm, divide, and destroy. How we use our words, both in what we say to others and in our self-talk, has a profound impact on our lives. Being impeccable with your word means using language with integrity, intention, and truthfulness. The word impeccable comes from the Latin root peccare, meaning to sin, and the prefix im, meaning without. Therefore, to be impeccable with your word means to be without sin in your speech. In this context, sin refers to anything that goes against yourself or others, such as lies, negativity, or harmful speech. Speaking impeccably involves saying only what you truly mean and using your words in ways that align with kindness, love, and authenticity. This principle extends beyond how we communicate with others. It also applies to the internal dialogue we have with ourselves. Self-talk, the words and phrases we repeatedly tell ourselves, can either empower or limit us. For example, telling yourself, "I am capable of learning," plants seeds of confidence and growth, encouraging you to pursue your goals. On the other hand, saying, "I am stupid," diminishes your self-worth and reinforces limiting beliefs. Over time, these internal messages shape how you see yourself and the world, influencing your decisions and actions. Ruiz warns against one of the most common misuses of words: gossip. Gossip, he explains, is like poison. It spreads negativity, distorts the truth, and damages relationships. When we engage in gossip, we perpetuate cycles of judgment, misunderstanding, and conflict. Even casual or seemingly harmless gossip contributes to a culture of mistrust and division. Avoiding gossip is a critical step toward being impeccable with your word. By refraining from speaking negatively about others, you cultivate a more harmonious environment and demonstrate respect for those around you. To practice this agreement, it's essential to cultivate mindfulness about the words you choose. Before speaking, pause and ask yourself 3 questions. 1. Is it true? Ensure your words are grounded in honesty and authenticity. 2. Is it kind? Avoid language that could harm or offend, even unintentionally. 3. Is it necessary? Focus on what adds value to a conversation, rather than speaking just to fill silence. When you apply this level of mindfulness, your words become a powerful force for good. Over time, you align your speech with your values, fostering trust and strengthening your relationships. Living this agreement requires practice and self-awareness, but the rewards are transformative. When you are impeccable with your word, you not only gain the trust and respect of others, but also build self-respect. This integrity creates a foundation of authenticity and love, both in how you interact with the world and in how you treat yourself. Gradually, you will find that your relationships improve, misunderstandings diminish, and your inner dialogue becomes a source of encouragement and positivity. Being impeccable with your word is not about striving for perfection. It's about striving for intentionality. It's about recognizing the incredible power of words and committing to using that power responsibly. Whether it's a small compliment, a heartfelt apology, or a simple expression of gratitude, your words have the potential to make a significant impact. By choosing to be impeccable with your word, you take the first step toward transforming your reality and creating a life filled with harmony and truth. Principle number 2. Don't take anything personally. The second agreement is a liberating concept that can dramatically reduce emotional suffering and help you maintain inner peace. Ruiz explains that nothing others say or do is truly about you. It's about them. People's words, behaviors, and reactions are shaped by their own beliefs, emotions, and experiences. By internalizing these actions and taking them personally, you end up carrying burdens that were never yours to bear. This agreement challenges you to detach your self-worth from others' opinions and instead build a strong foundation of inner confidence and clarity. The power of perception. Ruiz emphasizes that every individual experiences the world through their unique lens, which is shaped by their personal dream or belief system. Their words and actions are filtered through this perspective and are often projections of their internal state. For example, if someone criticizes your appearance, work, or lifestyle, it's easy to feel hurt and assume their words reflect your true value. However, their criticism is more likely a reflection of their insecurities, frustrations, or unmet expectations. Similarly, when someone reacts negatively in a situation, it often has little to do with you. Imagine a driver yelling at you in traffic. It might feel personal in the moment, but their anger is likely a response to their own stress, impatience, or bad day. Recognizing that their reaction is about them, not you, allows you to avoid taking it personally and protects your emotional well-being. The trap of personalization. Taking things personally ties your emotional state to external factors, making you vulnerable to the opinions, moods, and behaviors of others. When you base your self-worth on how others treat you or what they say, you give away your personal power. Ruiz explains that this habit keeps you in a reactive mode, constantly seeking validation or fearing criticism. Breaking free from this pattern involves understanding that your value is not determined by external opinions, but by your own self-perception and truth. It's not just negative feedback that you should detach from. It's also important not to overly internalize positive feedback. When someone praises you, their compliment reflects their personal preferences, beliefs, or emotions, not an absolute truth about who you are. While it's healthy to appreciate kindness and support, It's equally important not to allow praise to inflate your ego or define your sense of self. This balance prevents you from becoming overly dependent on external validation for your self-esteem, building emotional resilience. Practicing this agreement requires developing emotional detachment and self-awareness. When you encounter criticism, rejection, or even anger, pause and remind yourself, this is not about me. Instead of reacting defensively, try to observe the situation objectively. Ask yourself questions like, what might this person be experiencing that is influencing their behavior? Is their reaction rooted in their perspective rather than my actions? Does this feedback align with my truth or values? Ruiz encourages you to become a warrior of the mind, learning to deflect negativity and protect your emotional state. This doesn't mean becoming indifferent to others' feelings or feedback. Instead, it's about understanding where those feelings come from and choosing how much weight to give them. The freedom in letting go. When you stop taking things personally, you free yourself from the emotional roller coaster of constantly reacting to others' opinions. This agreement fosters a sense of emotional independence, allowing you to stay centered and grounded regardless of external circumstances. It empowers you to navigate relationships with clarity and compassion, without becoming entangled in unnecessary drama or hurt. Imagine a coworker makes a dismissive comment about your project. Instead of feeling hurt or defensive, you could recognize that their reaction may stem from stress, envy, or frustration unrelated to your work. By not taking it personally, you maintain your confidence and avoid unnecessary conflict. Similarly, if a friend cancels plans without much explanation, you might feel rejected or assume they're upset with you. However, by reframing the situation and considering their perspective, they might be tired, overwhelmed, or dealing with a personal issue, you can approach the situation with understanding and avoid creating unnecessary tension. Practical steps to apply this agreement. 1. Pause and reflect. When you feel triggered by someone's words or actions, take a moment to breathe and detach. Remind yourself that their behavior reflects their reality, not yours. Strengthen your self-worth. Build a strong sense of identity by focusing on your values, accomplishments, and inner strengths. The more confident you are in yourself, the less you'll rely on others' opinions. 3. Practice compassion. Instead of reacting defensively, try to understand what might be influencing the other person's behavior. This perspective fosters empathy and diffuses tension. 4. Reframe negative situations. When you feel slighted or hurt, challenge the assumption that it's about you. Consider alternative explanations that have nothing to do with you. Don't take anything personally is a transformative practice that brings emotional freedom and inner peace. It allows you to break free from the cycle of reacting to others' judgments and instead live authentically, guided by your own truth. By internalizing this agreement, you reclaim your power, build resilience, and approach life with greater compassion and understanding. Over time, this mindset fosters healthier relationships and a more balanced emotional state, empowering you to navigate life's challenges with grace and clarity. Principle number 3, don't make assumptions. The third agreement addresses a universal human tendency that often leads to unnecessary conflict, miscommunication, and emotional distress. Ruiz sheds light on how assumptions, our mental shortcuts to fill in gaps when we lack information, are typically rooted in fear, insecurity, or past experiences. By assuming, we frequently misinterpret situations and create problems that might not even exist. How assumptions lead to misunderstanding. Imagine a scenario where a friend doesn't return your call. Without knowing their reason, your mind might start creating a narrative. They're upset with me, or they're ignoring me on purpose. These thoughts can trigger feelings of guilt, anger, or resentment. However, the reality might be much simpler. They could be busy, dealing with personal issues, or have simply forgotten. These mental leaps demonstrate how assumptions distort reality, fueling unnecessary emotional turmoil and even damaging relationships. Assumptions don't just affect our interactions with others, they also shape how we perceive ourselves. For instance, if you fail at a task, you might think, "I'm not good enough," or "I'm incapable." These self-critical assumptions often stem from fear of failure or past negative experiences and can reinforce limiting beliefs that prevent personal growth. By accepting these assumptions as truth, we limit our potential and avoid opportunities to try again or improve. The emotional cost of assumptions. Assumptions often originate from fear of rejection, failure, or vulnerability. When we assume someone's thoughts or intentions, it's often an attempt to protect ourselves from potential hurt. Ironically, these assumptions can create the very outcomes we fear. For instance, assuming that a partner or friend is upset without clarifying can lead to unnecessary conflict, pushing the relationship into tension that could have been avoided through open communication. The emotional toll of assumptions can also ripple into other areas of life. A small misunderstanding at work, for example, might escalate if someone assumes they're being undermined or unappreciated. This can lead to resentment or disengagement, potentially harming team dynamics and productivity. In personal relationships, unspoken assumptions about someone's needs or feelings can build up over time, leading to unmet expectations and feelings of disappointment or betrayal. Breaking free from assumptions. Ruiz offers a simple yet powerful antidote to assumptions: clear communication. When we seek clarity instead of jumping to conclusions, we build trust and mutual understanding in our relationships. For example, instead of assuming what someone meant, ask a clarifying question such as, "Can you explain that further?" Or, "Did you mean X?" These small steps toward communication can prevent misunderstandings and diffuse potential conflicts before they arise. In addition to fostering better communication, breaking free from assumptions requires a mindset of curiosity and openness. Rather than projecting our fears or insecurities onto a situation, we can choose to approach it with a willingness to understand and learn. This shift not only prevents unnecessary emotional distress, but also creates opportunities for deeper connections and meaningful conversations. Courage and vulnerability in communication. Ruiz emphasizes that avoiding assumptions often requires courage, particularly in situations where asking for clarification feels uncomfortable. This discomfort stems from the vulnerability involved in admitting we don't know something or seeking clarity about someone's thoughts or intentions. However, embracing this vulnerability strengthens relationships by fostering authenticity and trust. For instance, in a romantic relationship, assuming your partner knows what you need or want without explicitly communicating it can lead to disappointment on both sides. By vulnerably expressing your needs and asking for theirs, you create a space for mutual understanding and support. Similarly, in professional settings, asking for feedback or clarification, even when it feels risky, can prevent miscommunication and improve collaboration. Practical steps to avoid assumptions. To practice this agreement, Ruiz suggests adopting habits that encourage curiosity and directness. Pause and reflect. Before assuming someone's thoughts or intentions, pause and acknowledge that your interpretation might not reflect reality. This moment of reflection can prevent a knee-jerk reaction. 2. Ask questions. Foster a habit of seeking clarification when something is unclear. For example, if a friend seems distant, ask, "Is everything okay?" instead of assuming they're upset with you. Avoid mind reading. Recognize that you cannot know what others are thinking unless they explicitly share it. Avoid interpreting silence or ambiguous actions as negative without verifying. 4. Check your beliefs. Challenge limiting assumptions about yourself. Instead of thinking, "I failed because I'm not good enough," reframe it as, "I didn't succeed this time. but I can learn and try again. 5. Practice empathy. Consider alternative explanations for someone's behavior. A missed call might be due to stress or distraction, not intentional neglect. Benefits of breaking assumptions. Practicing "don't make assumptions" brings significant benefits to both personal and professional relationships. By seeking clarity, you reduce misunderstandings and foster deeper connections. Over time, this habit builds trust, as others recognize your willingness to understand their perspective rather than jumping to conclusions. In addition, it helps you manage your emotions more effectively, as you're less likely to react based on unfounded fears or insecurities. This practice also encourages a growth mindset, allowing you to replace self-limiting beliefs with constructive self-awareness. When you stop assuming the worst about yourself and others, you create space for curiosity, learning, and improved communication, a life of openness and clarity. Ultimately, avoiding assumptions is about embracing a life of openness and clarity. Ruiz reminds us that assumptions often act as barriers to meaningful relationships and personal growth. By challenging these barriers, we not only reduce conflict and emotional distress, but also foster environments where trust and understanding thrive. By adopting this agreement, you empower yourself to approach life with honesty and curiosity. Instead of letting assumptions guide your actions, you cultivate a mindset that seeks clarity and connection, creating a foundation for stronger relationships and a more fulfilling life. Principle number 4. Always do your best. The fourth and final agreement serves as the cornerstone that ties the other agreements together. By focusing on effort rather than perfection, this agreement provides a practical and compassionate framework for navigating life's challenges. Ruiz emphasizes that doing your best is not about achieving flawless results, but about giving your full effort in any given moment, recognizing that your best will naturally vary depending on the circumstances. The importance of effort over perfection. Always do your best shifts the focus from outcomes to effort. Ruiz explains that your best will change depending on factors such as your energy levels, emotional state, and external circumstances. On some days, your best might mean being highly productive and tackling a long to-do list. On other days, it might mean simply showing up and persevering through difficulties. The key is to honor where you are and give your fullest effort within those limits. For instance, imagine you're learning a new skill, like playing an instrument or mastering a language. Your best might vary depending on how much time and energy you can dedicate on a given day. Some days, you might practice for hours and make noticeable progress. On others, your best might be spending just 10 minutes reviewing basics. By focusing on consistent effort rather than perfection, you cultivate a sense of accomplishment and motivation to continue. This mindset encourages resilience and adaptability. Instead of being discouraged by setbacks or fluctuations in performance, you learn to accept that progress is not always linear. What matters most is that you keep showing up and doing your best, regardless of the outcome. Cultivating self-compassion through effort. One of the most powerful aspects of this agreement is its emphasis on self-compassion. Ruiz explains that when you know you've done your best, you can release feelings of guilt, regret, or self-judgment. This mindset allows you to view your efforts with kindness, even if the results don't meet your expectations. For example, consider a scenario where you're preparing for an important exam or presentation. Despite your best efforts to study or rehearse, things may not go as planned. In such cases, reminding yourself that you did your best can help you move forward without dwelling on perceived failures. This perspective fosters emotional resilience, as it shifts your focus from self-criticism to self-acceptance. Self-compassion also plays a crucial role in maintaining motivation. When you approach challenges with kindness and recognize the value of your effort, you're more likely to persevere through difficulties. Conversely, if you constantly judge yourself harshly, you may become discouraged and lose the will to try. The balance between effort and rest. Ruiz is careful to note that doing your best does not mean overextending yourself to the point of exhaustion. Instead, it requires finding a balance between striving for growth and honoring your limits. He encourages readers to recognize when they need rest or support and to allow themselves to recharge without guilt. Burnout is a common pitfall for those who equate doing their best with working tirelessly. Ruiz's approach challenges this mindset, emphasizing that rest and self-care are essential components of doing your best. When you push yourself beyond your limits, your performance and well-being suffer, making it harder to sustain effort over time. By prioritizing balance, you create a sustainable approach to growth and productivity. For example, if you're working on a demanding project, doing your best might include taking breaks, seeking help from colleagues, or setting boundaries to protect your energy. Recognizing the importance of self-care helps you maintain your health and focus, enabling you to give your best effort consistently, celebrating effort and growth. Practicing this agreement involves celebrating your efforts and focusing on the process, rather than fixating solely on outcomes. Ruiz encourages setting realistic goals that align with your current abilities and circumstances, allowing you to track progress without feeling overwhelmed. By valuing effort over achievement, you build confidence and a sense of fulfillment. This mindset is particularly helpful when pursuing long-term goals or navigating challenges. For instance, if you're training for a marathon, doing your best might mean completing a difficult run even if your time isn't ideal. Celebrating the fact that you showed up and tried reinforces your commitment and perseverance. Over time, this approach helps you develop a growth mindset where setbacks are viewed as opportunities to learn rather than as failures. Focusing on the process also allows you to stay present and engaged. When you shift your attention from worrying about the outcome to appreciating the effort you're putting in, you cultivate a deeper sense of satisfaction. This practice can be applied to any area of life, from work and relationships to personal growth and hobbies. The transformative power of doing your best. Always do your best is not just about achieving external success. It's about cultivating an inner sense of integrity and purpose. When you consistently give your full effort, you align your actions with your values, creating a life that feels meaningful and authentic. This alignment brings a sense of peace, as you know you've done everything within your power to honor your commitments and goals. Ruiz also emphasizes that doing your best helps you integrate the other agreements into your life. For example, when you're doing your best, it's easier to be impeccable with your word, as you're committed to honesty and kindness. You're more likely to not take things personally, as your focus shifts from others' opinions to your own efforts and growth. You're better equipped to avoid making assumptions, as you prioritize clarity and understanding in your communication. In this way, the fourth agreement becomes a unifying principle that supports the other three, creating a foundation for personal transformation. Practical steps to apply this agreement. To integrate always do your best into your life, consider these practical steps. 1. Set realistic goals. Break down large goals into manageable steps that reflect your current abilities and circumstances. 2. Acknowledge your efforts. Take time to recognize and celebrate the effort you've put in, regardless of the outcome. 3. Prioritize rest and self-care. Balance your efforts with adequate rest, ensuring that you're able to give your best consistently. Focus on the process. Shift your attention from worrying about results to appreciating the journey and the growth it brings. Learn from setbacks. View mistakes or failures as opportunities to learn and improve, rather than as reasons to give up. By adopting these practices, you create a framework for sustainable growth and fulfillment, enabling you to live with integrity and purpose. A life of integrity and fulfillment. Ultimately, always do your best is about living with integrity and giving your all in every moment. It's not about perfection, but about showing up with commitment and authenticity, regardless of the challenges you face. By embracing this agreement, you cultivate a mindset of self-compassion, resilience, and balance, creating a life that feels both meaningful and fulfilling. The Toltec path to freedom. The Toltec tradition forms the philosophical foundation of Don Miguel Ruiz's The Four Agreements. Drawing from ancient Mesoamerican wisdom, the Toltec perspective views life as a dream shaped by the agreements we make with ourselves and others. Ruiz explains that this dream, the sum of our beliefs, perceptions, and emotional conditioning, can either imprison us in fear and limitation or set us free to live with love and truth. The path to personal freedom, according to the Toltecs, involves waking up from the fear-based dream we inherit from society and consciously choosing agreements that align with our authentic selves. Life as a dream. Central to the Toltec philosophy is the idea that life is a dream, but not in the sense of being imaginary or unreal. Instead, it suggests that our experience of life is subjective, shaped by the beliefs and agreements we adopt over time. These agreements begin forming in childhood, influenced by family, culture, religion, and education. Without realizing it, we internalize these beliefs, creating a dream of the planet that dictates how we perceive ourselves and the world. For instance, you might grow up believing, "I must succeed to be worthy of love," or "I'm not capable of achieving my dreams." These agreements become the lens through which you view your life, often limiting your potential and creating unnecessary suffering. Ruiz argues that the problem lies not in the world itself, but in the agreements we make about it, many of which are rooted in fear, guilt, and self-judgment. The journey to freedom begins when we realize that this dream is not absolute reality. By becoming aware of the agreements that shape our perceptions, we gain the power to question and change them. This awakening allows us to create a new dream, one that reflects our true values and aspirations rather than the expectations imposed by others. The role of awareness in freedom. Awareness is the first and most crucial step on the Toltec path to freedom. Ruiz emphasizes that you cannot change what you do not acknowledge. To free yourself from limiting agreements, you must first recognize them and understand their origins. This process involves observing your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors with curiosity rather than judgment. Ask yourself, what beliefs do I hold about myself and the world? Are these beliefs empowering or limiting? Where did these beliefs come from, and are they still serving me? For example, if you find yourself avoiding new challenges out of fear of failure, you might uncover an agreement like, "If I fail, I'm not good enough." Awareness of this belief allows you to question its validity and replace it with a more empowering agreement, such as, "Failure is a natural part of learning and growth." Ruiz likens this process to cleaning a dirty mirror. Over time, the fear-based agreements we've adopted obscure our ability to see ourselves clearly. By cultivating awareness, we begin to wipe away the smudges, revealing our authentic selves, replacing fear-based agreements with love and truth. Once you've identified the fear-based agreements that limit you, the next step is to replace them with agreements rooted in love and truth. Ruiz explains that fear is the primary force that distorts our perceptions and leads to unnecessary suffering. It manifests as self-judgment, blame, resentment, and a need for control. To break free from these patterns, we must consciously choose agreements that reflect self-love, acceptance, and authenticity. For example, instead of agreeing to seek validation from others, you might adopt the agreement to validate yourself. Instead of believing that you must be perfect to be worthy, you might embrace the agreement that your worth is inherent and unconditional. These new agreements serve as the foundation for a more fulfilling and liberated life. Ruiz also encourages practicing the four agreements. Be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best, as tools for creating agreements aligned with love and truth. These practices help dissolve the fear-based agreements that keep us trapped in the dream of the planet. The transformative power of forgiveness. Forgiveness is a cornerstone of the Toltec path to freedom. According to Ruiz, forgiveness is not about condoning harmful actions or letting others off the hook. Instead, it's an act of self-liberation that allows you to release the emotional burdens of anger, guilt, and resentment. When you hold on to these negative emotions, you remain tethered to the past, unable to fully engage with the present or create a better future. Forgiving others involves recognizing that their actions were likely driven by their own fear-based agreements. This perspective doesn't excuse their behavior, but helps you understand it with compassion, making it easier to let go of resentment. Similarly, forgiving yourself means acknowledging your mistakes without self-condemnation. It's about learning from the past and giving yourself permission to move forward with clarity and peace. Ruiz emphasizes that forgiveness is not a one-time event, but an ongoing practice. Each time you forgive, you peel away another layer of emotional baggage, gradually freeing yourself from the dream of fear. This process creates space for love, joy, and inner harmony to flourish. The three masteries: awareness, transformation, and intent. The Toltec tradition outlines three masteries that guide the path to personal freedom: awareness, transformation, and intent. 1. Awareness. As discussed earlier, awareness involves recognizing the agreements that shape your dream and identifying those that no longer serve you. This step requires honesty and courage, as it often involves confronting deeply ingrained beliefs and patterns. 2. Transformation. Once you're aware of limiting agreements, the next step is to transform them. This involves replacing fear-based beliefs with empowering ones and aligning your actions with your values. The 4 agreements serve as practical tools for this stage of the journey. 3. Intent. Intent is the energy and focus you bring to creating a new dream. It's the commitment to live consciously and align your thoughts, words, and actions with your highest truth. Intent requires discipline and perseverance, as the old dream will often try to pull you back into familiar patterns. By practicing these 3 masteries, you gradually break free from the dream of fear and create a life that reflects your authentic self. Living the dream of freedom. The ultimate goal of the Toltec path is to live the dream of freedom, a state in which you are no longer bound by fear-based agreements or external expectations. In this dream, you experience life with clarity, self-love, and acceptance. You interact with others authentically, free from the need for approval or control. Most importantly, you live in harmony with yourself, embracing your imperfections and celebrating your unique journey. Ruiz reminds us that this path is not about achieving perfection, but about progress. Each step you take toward freedom brings you closer to your true self. By practicing awareness, replacing limiting agreements, and cultivating forgiveness, you create a life filled with love, truth, and purpose. The journey continues. The Toltec path to freedom is not a destination, but a lifelong journey. As you continue to wake up from the dream of the planet, you'll encounter new challenges and opportunities for growth. Each moment presents a choice to remain in fear or to embrace love and truth. By committing to this path, you empower yourself to live with intention, authenticity, and joy. Breaking old agreements. Breaking old agreements is a fundamental step in achieving the personal freedom outlined in Don Miguel Ruiz's The 4 Agreements. These agreements, often formed unconsciously during childhood, shape how we perceive ourselves and the world. Many of them are rooted in fear, self-doubt, and societal expectations, creating limiting beliefs that prevent us from living authentically. Ruiz offers a roadmap for identifying and dismantling these harmful agreements, empowering us to replace them with beliefs aligned with love, truth, and personal growth. Recognizing harmful agreements. The first step in breaking old agreements is awareness. Ruiz emphasizes that you cannot change what you don't acknowledge. Begin by observing your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors to uncover patterns that stem from fear-based agreements. Pay attention to recurring self-judgments, feelings of inadequacy, or actions driven by guilt or the need for approval. These patterns often point to limiting agreements you've unconsciously accepted. For instance, if you constantly strive for perfection and fear failure, you might have an underlying agreement such as, "I need to be perfect to be loved." This belief, often instilled during childhood, may have been reinforced by societal pressures or critical feedback from others. By identifying such agreements, you take the first step toward dismantling them. Ruiz encourages you to question the origin of these beliefs. Ask yourself, where did this agreement come from? Was it something I was taught or modeled by others? Does it reflect my true values and authentic self? This process of introspection reveals how many of our agreements are inherited from family, culture, or religion, and may no longer serve us. Recognizing that these beliefs are not inherently true or fixed opens the door to change. Challenging limiting beliefs. Breaking old agreements requires courage and a willingness to question deeply held beliefs. Ruiz suggests treating these agreements as if they were contracts you've made with yourself. Just as you can renegotiate or cancel a contract, you can replace limiting agreements with ones that empower you. To challenge a limiting belief, start by asking yourself, is this belief true? Does it reflect who I am and what I value? How is this belief affecting my life and relationships? For example, if you've internalized the belief, "I'm not capable," consider the evidence supporting and contradicting it. Are there moments in your life where you've demonstrated competence and growth? By questioning the validity of this belief, you begin to loosen its hold on your self-perception. Once you've identified a belief as limiting or false, replace it with a more empowering one. Transform "I'm not capable" into "I am capable of learning and growing." Shift "I need to be perfect to be loved" to "I am worthy of love just as I am." These affirmations serve as new agreements that align with self-compassion and authenticity. Overcoming fear and resistance. Fear often arises when confronting old agreements, as these beliefs have likely been part of your identity for years. Letting go of them can feel unsettling, as it challenges the familiar narrative you've constructed about yourself. Ruiz reminds us that this discomfort is a natural part of the process and a sign of growth. To overcome resistance, cultivate self-compassion and patience. Recognize that breaking old agreements is not a one-time event, but a gradual journey. Each step forward, no matter how small, contributes to your transformation. Celebrate your progress and remind yourself that the effort you're putting in is a testament to your commitment to personal freedom. Ruiz also emphasizes the importance of self-awareness in navigating fear. When fear arises, ask yourself, what am I afraid of losing? Often, the fear is rooted in the loss of a familiar identity or the approval of others. By identifying the source of your fear, you can address it with clarity and courage, replacing old agreements with empowering beliefs. The process of breaking old agreements isn't just about dismantling, it's also about rebuilding. To create a life aligned with love and truth, you must replace fear-based agreements with empowering ones that reflect your values and aspirations. Ruiz encourages you to craft new agreements through intentional self-talk and practice. Here are a few examples. Replace "I'm not good enough" with "I am enough as I am." Shift "I can't handle failure" to "Failure is an opportunity to learn and grow." Transform "I need others' approval to be happy" into "I create my own happiness." Reinforce these new agreements by repeating them daily, especially in moments of self-doubt. Over time, these affirmations become ingrained, forming the foundation of your new dream. In addition to affirmations, the 4 agreements themselves: be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best, serve as practical tools for creating empowering beliefs. For example, practicing impeccability with your word helps you speak to yourself with kindness and truth, while avoiding assumptions encourages clarity and open communication. the role of persistence and patience. Breaking old agreements is a process that requires persistence and patience. These beliefs have likely been reinforced over years or even decades, and it takes time to unravel their influence. Ruiz advises approaching this journey with gentleness, understanding that progress may be gradual. One effective strategy is to treat setbacks as learning opportunities rather than failures. If you notice yourself falling back into an old pattern, acknowledge it without judgment and recommit to your new agreements. Each time you do this, you strengthen your ability to choose love and truth over fear. Ruiz also highlights the importance of self-care during this process. Breaking old agreements can be emotionally taxing, as it involves confronting past wounds and insecurities. Make time for activities that nourish your body and mind, such as meditation, journaling, or spending time in nature. These practices help you stay grounded and resilient as you navigate the challenges of transformation. The rewards of breaking old agreements. While breaking old agreements can be challenging, the rewards are profound. By dismantling beliefs that no longer serve you, you free yourself from the limitations imposed by fear and self-doubt. This liberation creates space for authenticity, self-love, and personal growth. As you replace old agreements with empowering beliefs, you'll notice positive changes in your relationships, career, and overall well-being. You'll approach challenges with greater confidence, communicate more authentically, and feel more aligned with your true self. This transformation not only benefits you, but also inspires those around you to embark on their own journeys of self-discovery, a life of freedom and authenticity. Ultimately, breaking old agreements is about reclaiming your power to shape your life. It's a journey of waking up from the dream of fear and consciously creating a new dream rooted in love and truth. By identifying and dismantling harmful beliefs, you take a decisive step toward personal freedom and fulfillment. As you continue this journey, remember that the process is ongoing. Each agreement you break brings you closer to living a life that reflects your deepest values and aspirations. With courage, persistence, and self-compassion, you can transform your inner landscape and create a reality that truly aligns with who you are. Heaven on Earth. In Don Miguel Ruiz's The Four Agreements, the concept of heaven on earth represents the ultimate outcome of living in alignment with the agreements and freeing ourselves from fear-based beliefs. This metaphorical heaven isn't a far-off paradise or a mystical realm. It's a state of being that we can experience here and now by cultivating inner peace, joy, and authenticity. Ruiz's vision challenges the notion that life's fulfillment comes from external achievements or circumstances. Instead, he offers a pathway to transcend suffering and create a personal reality rooted in love and truth. What is heaven on earth? According to Ruiz, heaven on earth is a life free from the emotional turmoil and self-imposed limitations created by fear-based agreements. It's a state where we no longer carry the burden of guilt, shame, or resentment. Instead, we live with clarity, self-acceptance, and a profound sense of inner peace. This transformation begins when we recognize that our experience of life is shaped not by external events, but by the agreements we make with ourselves and others. In this vision, heaven on earth isn't about perfection. It's about progress and the daily effort to align our thoughts, words, and actions with the four agreements. Be impeccable with your word to build trust and speak with kindness. Don't take anything personally to free yourself from others' judgments. Don't make assumptions to foster understanding and clarity. Always do your best to live authentically and embrace self-compassion. Each agreement acts as a stepping stone, guiding us toward a more harmonious relationship with ourselves and the world around us. By practicing these principles, we gradually dissolve the layers of fear, doubt, and insecurity that keep us disconnected from our true selves. Inner peace and authenticity. Ruiz emphasizes that the foundation of heaven on earth is inner peace. When we stop taking things personally, making assumptions, or engaging in self-criticism, we free ourselves from much of the emotional suffering that dominates human experience. This doesn't mean life becomes free of challenges, but rather that we develop the resilience and perspective to navigate them with grace. Authenticity is another key element of this state. Heaven on earth is about living in alignment with your true self, unburdened by societal expectations or the need for external validation. When you let go of fear-based agreements, you reclaim your personal power and begin to express yourself authentically in all aspects of life. This authenticity fosters deeper connections with others, as it creates space for honesty and vulnerability in relationships, joy and freedom. Living in heaven on earth is also characterized by a sense of joy and freedom. Ruiz describes this joy as a natural state that arises when we release the emotional baggage of fear, guilt, and shame. By breaking free from limiting agreements, we open ourselves to the simple pleasures of life and the profound gratitude that comes from being present in the moment. Freedom, in Ruiz's philosophy, isn't just about external circumstances, it's about inner liberation. Many people live in a mental prison of self-doubt, judgment, and fear, even if they appear successful or happy on the outside. Heaven on earth is the freedom to be yourself without apology, to love and accept yourself fully, and to create a life that reflects your deepest values. Harmonious relationships. One of the most transformative aspects of living the Four Agreements is the impact it has on relationships. Ruiz explains that fear-based agreements often lead to conflict, misunderstanding, and resentment in our interactions with others. By practicing the agreements, we create a foundation for harmonious relationships built on trust, respect, and open communication. For example, being impeccable with your word fosters honesty and reduces the likelihood of misunderstandings. Not taking things personally helps you respond to others with compassion rather than defensiveness. Avoiding assumptions encourages you to seek clarity and listen deeply. Doing your best ensures that you approach relationships with integrity and effort, even in challenging situations. As you embody these principles, you not only transform your relationships, but also inspire others to do the same. This ripple effect contributes to a more loving and supportive environment for everyone involved. Progress over perfection. Ruiz reminds us that achieving heaven on earth is not about attaining perfection. Human beings are naturally imperfect, and striving for flawlessness often leads to frustration and self-criticism. Instead, the focus should be on progress, taking consistent steps toward embodying the agreements in your daily life. This progress might look different from day to day. Some days, you may find it easy to practice the agreements. On others, you might struggle. What matters is the effort you make and the intention behind your actions. Ruiz encourages readers to approach this journey with patience and self-compassion, recognizing that growth is a lifelong process, the path to freedom and fulfillment. The ultimate promise of heaven on earth is a life of freedom and fulfillment. When you release the agreements that no longer serve you and replace them with those aligned with love and truth, you create a reality that feels authentic and meaningful. This transformation isn't limited to your inner world. It extends to how you engage with the external world, from your relationships and career to your creative pursuits and contributions. Ruiz emphasizes that this state of fulfillment doesn't depend on external achievements or possessions. It's about the quality of your inner experience and your ability to live with integrity, gratitude, and joy. By practicing the Four Agreements, you align your life with your true self and unlock the potential for profound happiness and peace. Practical steps to create heaven on earth. To begin living heaven on earth, Ruiz offers the following practical steps. 1. Practice daily awareness. Reflect on how fear-based agreements influence your thoughts, words, and actions. Use this awareness to make conscious choices that align with love and truth. Embrace the Four Agreements. Integrate the agreements into your daily life, using them as tools to navigate challenges and strengthen your relationships. 3. Celebrate progress. Acknowledge your efforts and growth, even when the results aren't perfect. Progress, not perfection, is the key to lasting transformation. 4. Cultivate gratitude. Focus on the positive aspects of your life and appreciate the opportunities for growth and connection that each day brings. Point 5. Share your light. As you embody the principles of heaven on earth, share your insights and compassion with others, inspiring them to embark on their own journeys of transformation. A lifelong journey. Heaven on earth isn't a destination you arrive at once and for all. It's a lifelong journey. Each step you take toward aligning your life with love and truth brings you closer to this state of being. There will be moments of challenge and doubt, but by staying committed to the 4 agreements, you can navigate these obstacles with resilience and grace. Ruiz's vision of heaven on earth serves as a reminder that we have the power to create a life of joy, peace, and authenticity. It begins with the choices we make each day, the agreements we uphold, and the love we cultivate within ourselves and our relationships. By embracing this journey, you not only transform your own life, but also contribute to a more harmonious and loving world. Conclusion. Living in alignment with Don Miguel Ruiz's vision of the 4 agreements opens the door to a life of profound freedom, authenticity, and joy, what Ruiz calls heaven on earth. By practicing the 4 agreements, being impeccable with your word, not taking things personally, avoiding assumptions, and always doing your best, you embark on a journey of self-transformation that frees you from fear-based beliefs and limiting patterns. This journey is not about perfection, but about progress, self-compassion, and intentional growth. Each small step you take brings you closer to a life of inner peace and fulfillment. Imagine a life where you communicate with clarity and kindness. Free yourself from the burden of others' opinions, and embrace each day with the courage to show up as your true self. These are the gifts of practicing the 4 agreements, and they create a ripple effect that transforms not only your inner world, but also your relationships and interactions with others. But remember, the journey to heaven on earth is ongoing. There will be challenges and setbacks, but as Ruiz emphasizes, what matters is your willingness to try again. Celebrate every moment of progress and know that each effort you make to live the agreements contributes to a more meaningful and harmonious life. Your next steps. If you're inspired by Ruiz's message and ready to create your own version of heaven on earth, here's what you can do. Start small. Choose one agreement to focus on this week. Reflect on how it applies to your daily interactions and decisions. 2. Journal your journey. Write about your experiences, challenges, and progress as you practice the agreements. This will help deepen your awareness and commitment. 3. Share the wisdom. Discuss the agreements with friends or family members and invite them to join you on this transformative journey. 4. Revisit the book. If you haven't already, read or reread the 4 agreements to dive deeper into Ruiz's teaching. If you found this video summary helpful and are ready to take the next step toward personal freedom and transformation, don't forget to like this video to let us know you enjoyed it. Subscribe to our channel for more book summaries, motivational content, and practical tools for self-improvement. Turn on notifications so you never miss a new video that can inspire your journey to a better life. Share this video with someone who could benefit from Ruiz's powerful insights, because spreading knowledge and inspiration creates a ripple effect of positive change. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the 4 agreements and Ruiz's vision of heaven on earth. Start your journey today by embracing these transformative principles and watch as your life begins to align with love, truth, and authenticity. Let's create our heaven on earth, one agreement at a time.